Agreed.
Now, let's get back to the beast system, because obviously the beast system is in the Bible in numerous places, Revelation 13 especially, with the false prophet and the Antichrist and the mark of the beast, which could be a microchip implant, nanochip, whatever. You talk about, it's difficult for me to pronounce the name of the computer.
The adiabatic.
The adiabatic.
Means without heat processed, adiabatic quantum computer. AQC is the easier way to talk about it, AQC.
Okay, now you relate this to the beast system. I want to find out why.
Sure.
But you tell us, and I want our viewers to grasp this, that are they building this computer now?
It's already been built in the model 2048. They started with a 128 model.
Wait, not the year, but the model number 2048.
Right.
It's already built.
Well, there have been multiple generations that have been built.
But the early stages, like the early Apple.
First one was 2008.
Wow.
The 2048 was released to the public in January of last year, 2015.
Now, you describe it as equivalent to 7 billion human brains. Has this computer reached that level yet?
Yes.
So this computer, how big is it, by the way, physically?
Well, interestingly, it's housed in a black cube. Can you say Mecca?
Right.
Black sun, the worship of, and we go to 2001 with the obelisk, right? It wasn't a cube, but it was a black rectangle.
How big of a black cube is it?
So we're talking about something that's about the size of this stage here in the studio.
So this computer is about a black cube about the size of this television set, and yet it has the intelligence and memory or whatever that's equivalent to 7 billion human brains.
That's correct. Now, this is a housing. This is a shield that separates it from all electromagnetic interference to maintain the stability of the processor. It's what's called coherence and decoherence in computer science. But inside the cube is something that is arranged just like the spinal column of a human. And it has what are known as qubits that are essentially constructed of gold, but other components. But these are not transistor-based. Qubits are a complete departure in the technology from transistors, which are silicon gate model processors. This is a complete quantum leap into another way of processing information. And it does so quickly that it has no relevance, no comparison to the gate model transistor-based, even transistor quantum computer. So we're talking about something that most people who've not studied the adiabatic quantum computer process can't wrap their heads around. It's a very deep topic, but I want to be succinct here. It operates interdimensionally. When I spoke of earlier that they're already communicating with the other side, without having opened a gateway, a portal, a physical portal in the dimension, they're communicating using this computer because, and this comes right from the manufacturer, this is public disclosure information. I didn't have to get this in a secretive manner. They do what are called combinatorial programming. They take all possible solutions and at one time feed it into the machine through an interface, which happens to be a black cube itself, the interface device. And by their own admission, it enters into another dimension where the processing takes place, and then they extract from that other dimension the solution to the combinatorial problem. That is communication with an actual physical tool to another dimension.
Now, when it's communicating to another dimension, is it communicating to a consciousness or an intelligence in another dimension?
Yes.
It is?
Yes, because it happens definitively, repeatedly, measurably. They're able to do this consistently. There was a lot of doubt in the transistor-based world of quantum computing that the company that put this quantum or qubit-based processor together, that they really were achieving any definitive answers and that were reliable and coherent, that were stable. But they have proven over and over again. Let me give you one example of who's purchasing Google. The first model was purchased by Lockheed and USC with an open public computer laboratory that the public can access with their first model, and it has advanced through 512 model, for example, two of which were purchased by Google a few years ago. They now have the 2048. The 2048 represents the number of qubits. That is connected to the Large Hadron Collider for the purpose of opening the portal and maintaining the stability of it.
Okay, so when you say this computer is connected to the Large Hadron Collider, it somehow is electronically or something connected to?
It's no different than our computer networking setups.
So it's networked into the Large Hadron Collider.
That's correct.
So we have literally, it's like, reminds me of 2001: A Space Odyssey. There's the ape.
HAL 9000.
Yeah, and then there's the ape and the obelisk, and then PAL.
Sure.
And yet I believe in the biblical worldview.
Sure.
But it would seem to me that with this level of 7 billion human brains of intelligence, and
this is the beast system.
Yeah, the beast system. It seems to me that it is already, well, it's already artificially intelligent.
Absolutely.
But it must be self-advancing itself.
Yes.
So it's moving towards a singularity where its intelligence surpasses man.
Mm-hmm.
Do you
That's
think
correct.
it's already on the way to that?
It is. That is the goal. The question often arises, is it yet sentient? Is it self-aware? I don't believe it is.
Okay.
And I base that only on the evidence that I look at, not conjecture or speculation. So I don't think it has.
So tell us how, in a biblical sense, this connects with the beast system in the book of Revelation.
Well, the beast system we hear of, if you don't accept the mark of the beast, then no man can buy or sell. All of that control mechanism. How do you control over 7 billion people?
Right.
You have a computer that's equivalent to 7 billion people. That's why I cite that, coming from the manufacturer's own citation. Okay? So I'm just repeating their information, but the point is, you have to have a sophisticated system to be able to control not just the movement of people and the movement of goods and transactions and governments, but the minds of people. You're creating a serf class of human beings.
Right.
When you accept the mark of the beast, you lose all awareness that you have even been modified. You don't even know that you've been changed.
So your memory's erased, like some of the sci-fi movies.
Well, in the sense of your own self-awareness, your own knowledge of your soul.
Okay, so when you take the biblical mark of the beast, which is technology, it's deeper than
it goes to the DNA.
It goes to, tell us how it goes to the DNA.
Okay. This sounds far-fetched, but when you accept the mark of the beast, what you are actually doing is accepting into your body, and there will be numerous routes to this. This can be through inhalation of nanoparticles. This can be the acceptance of a vaccine for you and your children and your loved ones. Once it's introduced into the body by any route, it then is a modifier to the DNA. I call it the third strand of DNA. We have a double helix. This is going to be a triple helix. This is an artificial construct that can be digitally imparted with information and then controlled from an external source. That control mechanism, the linkage, comes through the electromagnetic connection. We can call it microwaves or whatever, or ELF, extremely low frequency, be it whatever frequency, but that is the link to humans from that computer, and that is the beast system that controls us through our DNA, which has been modified, and then it changes our thought processes. It rewires our synapses in our own mind.
Right.
Because our brains are constructed from our DNA.
Right.
You modify the core, you modify the brain.
Powerful stuff. Our guest is Anthony Patch. You need to record these programs